Gak ada?
Yeah.
Are you sure? So this is just the last question. Do you have anything to say to the fans that has been supporting first Babuuh12? This is kind of a big deal. Gak ada?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing for now, but he will eventually when he get more than just one Babuuh12. Anyway, that is Adam from Onyx Esports. A round of applause for Adam, please. All right, survivors, we're gonna get back to the game, but first, let's hear. Survivors, we're gonna get
exactly where he is, but we need to get Onyx Olympus, Visaki Sri Vijaya. Obviously, we want to see them continuously climb up to the top on this side of Indonesia.
Hey, maybe he got a message from the universe just like you, my guy. I feel like, you know, all of these teams so far has just been feeling it, and now we're getting a really, really spicy day number 3. But even so, I think that VESJ, they're so close to it. They're so very, very close. They just need to win out of that very last fight, and I think a couple of tweaks can be made to actually make that happen, because I feel like they get overly eager to make sure that they win, especially since they are that team that forces the scenario in top 3s to try and close out on that second squad before they finally get into the 4v4.
I'm actually of the opposite view here, because they showing up, I think they were kind of intimidated by all of the other big names there. They are making the break into the big scene for the first time. They didn't really want to make those mistakes, but today I think they've suffered. We tried to play it safe, it didn't work. Let's try to get a little bit aggressive, and I really like this, right? 2 aggressive games, and they've got to that final circle. They may not be able to complete this run with the Booyah, but who counts Booyahs anyway? Buriram sure as hell doesn't count Booyahs. They're capable of picking it up, but they are looking for the bigger objective, getting into the final circle, and then later collecting those points, because those placement points come in very handy for you to climb up the board, Gideon.
They do, and I think, you know, I agree with you that, you know, previously they were playing too passive, but I think in these final circle scenarios, it's just a very small tweak, because so far the formula that they've done for early to mid is working out really nicely. It's just that small. You want to see that final score at the end. What were they doing during that downtime of mid to early? Were they able to actually get a couple of eliminations to put themselves back on the map?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, we see a lot of passion on the battlefield. We see a lot of passion in the YouTube chat as well. These guys really, really love these Southeast Asian teams, and I don't know what kind of a blessing this is, but it's really good to see scene grow in such a way. We've got fans from all over the world, massive fan base in India as well, who are here to support teams that they really look up to here in Southeast Asia. And as they are looking for those big squads, when teams like Onyx, when teams like Visaki Sri Vijaya come out here and they surprise, they also gain an ability to gain a brand new fan base for themselves, right? So I want to see them here today.
Hey man, this anger is turning into passion. We're just seeing the audience mature alongside of a lot of these teams, especially from these like debut when rookies. They start off young, but then when they become pillars of their team, they understand how important it is to build up that confidence, to feel like, hey, they are part of the best. I mean, you heard it from Adam himself. He, again, was able to, he wanted to trash talk so badly, but it's not the right time. We got to get a couple more points, get a hot day today, and then maybe that allows him to start the trash talk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, this is a very interesting MVP pulled off here by Onyx Olympus. Adam, 2 eliminations, 1,622 on the damage, 2 headshots. This doesn't look MVP material to me. Full of scenarios out there which I feel like, you know, there were better plays from his team members, but it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, there's no MVP collection for some extra bit of points out there or extra bit of money. So I think this one is just a badge of honor that Adam can wear on behalf of his full squad. Onyx Olympus overall together.
They did. They played a very slow game. I think, you know, they understood that they took too much punishment, and it's always just trying to catch up and catch up and catch up. And especially in these Southeast Asian lobbies, no team is gonna let you just walk away for free. Let's look at the rest of his squadron, right? Because again, it does seem like their squad, it has the capability of being really, really aggressive, but not necessarily, right? It's all about timing. It's all about just patiently waiting until you all collectively pop your actives.
Yeah, again, the Sentino being brought in here, a very off-meta play. Perhaps in Clash Squad, he comes in really handy. Out here on that Battle Royale, absolute chaos. Wings has been able to use the Sentino, but I haven't seen the efficacy of that Sentino just yet in terms of saving them from a pickle. So I'm pretty curious on if or not this is going to be the lineup of active skills they continue to run with, making any bit of a change out there within the next games. But I guess because they've hit the Booyah, they can maintain this?
I suppose. I don't know. There's a couple of weird ones as well, right? The fact that they've got Olivia as their passives, whenever they pick people up, they're going to have a little bit more HP. It's like they're expecting to get traded. They're expecting to get those knockdowns happen, and they want to drag out that fight as much as possible before they collectively swing out at the same time. But when looking in the damage numbers, I mean, 4 headshots coming in for Crimex in that game, and also coming up with 1.7k damage overall with 2 limbs and 2 assists, it just feels like Onyx Olympus just wanted to play a very slow, very passive game and just play purely for positions to guarantee points.
Yeah, no doubt at all, man. I mean, Crime MKS is MVP worthy as well. Now it makes sense as why it was so awkward in terms of that MVP selection, because overall the team just didn't do much out there, right? I didn't manage to catch the number of eliminations before the match ended, so now this makes so much more sense to me. A total of 6 eliminations spread out through 4 players. Obviously, you're not going to see a lot of damage there, not a lot of assists coming on through as well. So it was a sneaky Booyah ripped away by Onyx Olympus. But that actually brings me to wonder, did Visaki Srivijaya successfully overtake them on the leaderboard because of these low elimination numbers? That's I'm curious of now.
Oh, that's actually a really, really good point here. I mean, we first need to see how many eliminations they're able to get. We'll eventually get to the board in just a little bit, but let's look at our key players, because even GOW were making pretty active plays on the map. They definitely weren't holding back at all.
Yeah. I mean, they GOW 8 eliminations out of Yan alone. Obviously, massive points to kind of climb up the leaderboard, even though position placement-wise, they weren't so great. Or be in here for Visaki Srivijaya, 2,491 on the damage. I mean, look at that, man. This guy alone as the rusher for the squad has got more damage than 2 players put together on the side of Onyx Olympus. That shows how much of work Visaki put into that matchup. And Team Flash, first game, they got that Booyah. Second game, they're forcing ABCD to bring in too many of these revivals, man. Earlier, he was the MVP. Now he's highlighted for reviving his team members because they couldn't keep up.
Oh my goodness, look at that. VESJ right on top of 23 total points. 14 eliminations, tying up with GOW, but better placement points.
And look at Booyah, bro. Onyx Olympus down in the 4th spot because they just could not rip away as many points as expected. GOW just managed to climb, and not just climb, leap over Onyx Olympus. But Visaki Srivijaya, once again, this is that miracle for a team that was just lurking at the bottom, feeding to all of the other squads. Now they are doing eating. They are doing the fine dining experience out there, and I don't mind if they become a glutton today. And Visaki Srivijaya at 36 points. I'm a very...
Here first, VESJ, you got your tickets to the buffet certified by AJ the Mustachio already. And now the question is, can they maximize it even further, right? It's looking so good for them. And based on what we're seeing, a majority of the Indonesian teams are pretty heavy on looking for these elimination points, with the only exception being Onyx. Everybody else is playing for position, even BRU colliding with BTR that early on, and honestly getting pretty affected by multiple Riptide rhythms coming from teams on the outer edges of their compound. Can't really do much. Some may say unlucky, others will say at least they don't have a 100% win rate in that top 3.
Yeah, I think for Buriram, there's 2 problems, right? Number 1, that was rookie mistake. Nobody under Clock Tower in that way when they don't have the right firepower. They did not have the right firepower. Number 2, the Cruz is still trying to find his comfort zone within the Buriram squad. So obviously, we're not going to see masterful plays just yet. But I think if we give them enough time to warm up, this lineup of Buriram can really, really hurt the competition. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, a quick break. When we come back, the action continues.
Greaser. Still so impulsive. Don't rush, little guy. We have more important things to take care of. Oh, come on. What a hassle.
Stop trying to look cool and help out already! How many of those do you have?
Okay. Time to save the day again!
What's happening?
Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2025 Spring Season. 2 games in, 1,000 likes up on YouTube. You guys are rocking it. Thank you so much. And all of this action, not just in this season, but both in spring and fall, is then Red Bull, the official energy drink partner for Free Fire World Series.
They're going to be sponsoring us for both spring and as well as fall, so you can try out, in the meantime, all of their flavors. They come up with many different products as well. Make sure that you stay refreshed and energized, because you're going to need the energy to keep up with all the action that we've been seeing here today, especially as the underdog teams continue to rise. And we're hoping that this is going to be a continuous trend for the rest of today.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Osama as well. I see you, brother, representing Pakistan in the chat. The good old home of old school hotshot esports and the one and only Resurrection esports. Can't wait to see what can do on the world stage one day, because time and time again, right, we've seen these teams have that opportunity. But unfortunately, some hurdles in the way. But one day, we get to see them in full flight. But the game schedule, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Team Flash and Booyah dominating the first 2 games, Purgatory and Bermuda. We've got 3 more games at Nexterra, Kalahari, and Alpine before we get to that randomizer for Game 4.
All right, that means Just 4 more maps left to go. 4 more opportunities for our teams to get points. With the next one being Nextera, let's see how this is going to play out. Because notoriously, we've seen a lot of these Vietnamese teams play really, really strong defensive games with a lot of structures, especially towards the north side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Nextera is a map that has a lot of compounds to play, and at the same time, if the circle is cheeky, it can bring you to some unfortunately open grounds where you will really have to depend on those glue walls. So you can't take for granted that Nextera serves you up in all of those defensive spots. You have to be very, very careful with how you utilize all of those glue walls. In fact, any of those utilities that you pick out there on this map.
Yep, and now, I mean, looking at the map stats, Falcons Heavy as well as AG Global are the top scorers on it thus far. That might just change here today. Let's see whether we can catch up to those 40, the 31, and the 28 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, if you look at Falcons, they're not going to be playing today, but they have set the bar already for some of these other teams to overtake, and just so that they can kind of put their mark of dominance here as well, right? So this is where we will also see if or not the underdogs who have been performing well will be able to keep the pace up, because Nextera is just a different sort of beast here in the world of Free Fire map.
Yep, it's the city of the future for a reason. It's the pinnacle of science and the pinnacle of technology, but also where the meta really starts to rattle up depending on that final zone as we head on over to Nextera.
Whoop. A fair flight path for everybody to take a decent pick as to where they want to fly on to. They will not be challenged distance-wise, but obviously a hot drop will just make things a little bit more exciting to watch. Some of the big squads here, oh my god, the hot drop comes on through from the team, the underdog squad that I have been looking forward to in terms of finding some performance out there. Onyx Olympus will drop square in the middle of a split push from Team Expand.
Expand going for a, again, trying to control 2 zones, trying to make sure that everybody's got enough loot. At the same time, they could look for that big punish on Onyx. For now, we see CRM already in contact as DEIXA is the first to go down as well. That's first blood for CRM. No surprises from CRM. This is what they like to do, is they find Koja next. This first drop is not looking good as they get 1 buyback. It looks like BTR are on the run.
Yeah, great insurance play from Bigatron Delta. They just don't have the right guns to play the counter up against Core Memory. And Core Memory better be careful because they haven't really been on point all throughout this competition. And as I say that, they come swinging on out as they find Pyong. Fires will be able to trade 1 back. The shot straight to Folky's head, but that is going to... Uh-oh, bye-bye. Vamos right behind Dick. The man just came back with a secondary in hand. This is going to be an early exit for Bigatron Delta.
It's not looking to, there's only so much you can do, but that's going to be a super early exit. How unfortunate for BTR. In the meantime, we now see Expand in the middle, trying to make sure that they win out this battle against Onyx, and they've already found 1 and found 2. Oh, Onyx Adam is doing well with the shotgun. He's going pretty heavy with the M5, and with that, he's already eliminated. Expand eliminate Onyx Olympus, ending their gas.
And this is exactly what I was pointing out, right? The underdogs are capable of having some explosive rounds, but the consistency is key here, and they keep losing that key. They're not going to be able to enter this house anytime soon.
We'll see whether or not WAG is going to make Vamos meet that same fate. They already have their full fighting force with 1 actually looking for the flank, but the compound here, very easy to defend for Vamos in the meantime. Only 2 members are visible. Not sure what the rest of the Vamos team is looking out for. WAG will capitalize. They've already dashed on in. They still hold on. They've isolated, and Allen already finds 2 and eliminates them pretty quickly. A great pincer maneuver with the help of Cyrus.
Sorry, where's Vamos? I just saw them there.
They're gone. They got wiped off like chalk on a chalkboard.
Thankfully, there was 1 guy still alive on the side of Vamos, and the instant revival coming on through. So the Malaysians are hanging on for their dear lives. A little unfortunate. That was way too quick. 590 stuff, bro. It just ends the game before it starts.
Hey, I mean, it's already stated a close to mid-range demon at this point. That's why so many teams are opting to go for it over the Trogon at this point. Even so, EVOS now coming into contact with Flash. Once again, I mean, they had a similar scenario actually happen to them in the previous map. Let's see if they're going to play this out a little differently. Do they want to go all in, or are they just looking for picks first?
Lucky is asking if this is the real Mustachio in the YouTube chat. No, it's the fake Mustachio. Of course it's the real one.
We're watching the YouTube chat, guys. Don't worry. We'll reply whenever we can. In the meantime, we're seeing that VESJ actually hunting down the Todak members one by one. Rasha getting out sniped by Huang at this point of time. And that's not good. It means that the Riptide Rhythm's coming out. Oh wait, he drops his launcher pretty early on. AimGod, he's not in position to cover the rest of his teammates and now has to go into the vending machine to buy them back as Ray falls to his knees and gets eliminated as well.
They say money cannot solve big life problems, but it can help you buy back your teammates in a good game of Free Fire. Thank God, AimGod had enough money for that.
He did. And now he's going to try his best. Just stay under the radar. He already slipped through Team Flash once. Can he do it again? And if so, can he bring down a couple of members and secure a few elimination points before anything else? He's going to hear them coming up on his right side. Oh, he notices it. Quickly drops down to heal UAV. But unfortunately, despite being at close range, electrotherapy just too good.
A flashy exit there, and Toda on a revival spree as well. I thought it was going to be all over for them already as they got caught out by the players on the side of Hisaki Srivijaya. And look at this as well, Red Expand all back in it after that massive fight that they took early on up against Onyx Olympus, and they are spotted out already. Question is, who used the binoculars? That one we're not too sure.
Well, in the meantime though, we're gonna see how they're going to try and control again. This is now Clash Squad right here, but VSJ in the back trying to interrupt the Clash Squad so far, and I think that's why Expand is a little hesitant to go even further than this. The question is whether GOW are aware of the exact same scenario. It looks like Expand, they walk away from this, quickly launching themselves. GOW will take pot shots as the blue starts to close in. Expand is out of there.
Yeah, great reposition coming through, and it was not a blind reposition coming through from Expand. They take position on the bridge, which is a real 50-50, gets you great vantage point, but to maneuver yourself around from that bridge without a launch pad is going to be a little tough, and obviously everybody's going to be looking up, right? And if your head sticks out a little bit too far, those headshots can be pretty nasty.
It can be. Now, ooh, it looks like VESJ now getting attacked by GOW. This is what we were expecting. These two teams would eventually collide. And now, even VESJ, they're like, I don't want to be part of this. They're going to get shot out of the sky, but luckily nobody gets knocked just yet. They walk away, minimal punishment, just a couple of health packs to keep them alive.
Shout out to the country of my ancestors. We've got some Sri Lankans in the chat as well from a world of Free Fire that used to be a part of many of our matches where the Malaysians used to be involved in. Unfortunately, we don't see many of these squads, but fingers crossed we do see them back in high octane action once again, just like some of these teams. My goodness, Rastia sniped out of nowhere. Cougar with the AC-80, nasty shots coming on through, and Team Flash, the closest ones to EVOS Divine, they go in for the follow-up, and thank God once again AimGod had money. Okay, money is important in life, guys.
His investments have worked out. He will eventually fall, and now it's just Rasha by himself. However, he's going over Deca Square, and CRM, I mean, I'm watching the kill feed. They've taken a very good engagement against WAG. They've been winning out a majority of their fights, but this could potentially be the end unless he is able to get out of there. In the meantime, we see that BRU, one elimination coming in from Wasana, going into the boxing gym, and they've been pretty under the radar for quite some time. It feels like they're trying something out.
Yep, they're just trying to not exit early.
They don't want to see the exit. Please, don't go into the light.
The only reason why they haven't exited is because we don't have clock tower on this map. Buriram. Okay. We tease Buriram, we play with them, but we all know they are not just championship quality, but world championship quality, right? The team that is most desperately hungry to bring that world championship back, the trophy back to Thailand, and they've brought the cruise back as their secret weapon. But I just don't find him hitting hard, like get high just yet. So I'm actually looking to see what can bring to the team. thus far, I'm still not impressed, but we can cut the kid some slack because these are still warm-up games for him on this level.
Yep. Maybe he's just getting used to the jersey swag. And now we look at it, expand once again. They have to deal with VESJ. I mean, they disengaged from their previous engagement against GOW because of this squad, and it looks like they're rotating in the exact same pathway as well. We'll see how they're going to play this out, because again, VESJ, they are not prone to just having to fight for the sake of fighting. And now, cut back to Team Flash, they're dealing with the now recovered Todak. Healing UAV already dropped down, but now the explosives are going to be thrown as well as Death, making sure he's got a launcher ready to go on the outer side of the compound if they try to get in too close.
Well, God is on the side of Todak because GOW just shot at Flash from nowhere and they took one. ABCD, the aggression will catch Videl, the M590. Look at them bunny hop all around the battlefield, hunting out these fishes on land. Todak has nowhere to run. Traps has no gunplay. And Flash will have an easy day wiping the floor with these Todak players. It's just a tad bit unfortunate. And GOW again interfering in Flash's fight, helping out the Malaysian squad survive.
And Todak, they got to scramble, right? They're still stuck out in the blue and Flash. They took a bit of damage, but they were put low because of a quick launch into the zone of DEIXA Square. And a lot of teams are hungry, and a lot of teams are in the vicinity. Vamos take the first couple of shots, but the Zom still alive.
Go Jojo, it's your birthday. You just bought back, thankfully, 2 of your team members once again. Jojo just expired as I sang a song for him. Uncalled for Team Flash. Wasana finding Alan WAG stuck up against Buriram. Visaki Sriwijaya in the mix as well. But as Buriram tries to shut down all of these blue walls out of nowhere, Cyrus with the Trogon turns the table. Wasana though comes flying on out to find the finisher. X4 too low, but a Riptide Rhythm out of nowhere. And Mochi from afar shuts down X4 and prevents him ending the run of the rest of his team members. And now one final player in the name of Cyrus. He's got the Trogon, but no backup. But he does manage to put Wasana down on the ground.
And then Jonah turns it to finish this off. They will be able to eliminate WAG. We're seeing BRU get active on the map. They're gonna have to bring back the crews at some point, but 5 eliminations is good enough with no stragglers. I mean, they're just looking for these placement points, right? And they want to eliminate a full squad. They don't want them to keep having to chase them down the map.
Absolutely, man. Now we've got some Brazilian fanboys in the chat as well. They think that Brazil will be able to dominate these teams from Southeast Asia. Well, they're not wrong entirely.
They're definitely not
the world, the world champions. Fluxo most definitely proved they can dominate Southeast Asia, at least some of their teams, when they met the last time. 2 years in a row now, Brazil has managed to keep the trophy in Brazil. And obviously, Thailand not having any of that. Buriram, a team that's dipping as far as bringing a player out of retirement from back in 2022 back into the mix to hope to make some sort of a difference for themselves. We all want to see if or not Southeast Asia stands a stronger chance this time round to win the trophy. But first of all, we need to see exactly who rises up to the occasion, right? And here's the blessing. Visaki Sriwijaya, they're still alive, bro.
They're still alive, man. They're still kicking around. They're looking for that opportunity. They always want to be just taking their time and moving themselves in. However, DEIXA Square, not exactly the greatest end zone to be in for a lot of these teams on the outside. BRU going to go for that late roll. You have the ESJ. They've noticed this as well. They're going to take a couple of pot shots, and now BRU need to make a consideration. Moshi ends up falling down, and it looks like even GOW have an angle on them. They quickly go for the revive. They quickly keep him back up. Wasana needs to get back underneath cover as we see that VESJ is now heading straight into the ring.
Okay. Now we are going to have a flag fight in this YouTube chat, all right? Chat, put the flag that you think is capable of dominating the world stage this time round in that comment section. I want to see whether they may see more Brazilian flags or Thai flags or Vietnamese flags. You put those flags down. If you want to put that Indian flag there, you put that flag down. We want to check out chat in a little bit because we are having some zen moment here. Nobody wants to get into a little bit of a tussle with their opponents. Everybody wants this next circle. But I can guarantee you boys that this is getting a tad bit too crowded.
It is. It is. We need to start seeing 9 squats in such a tiny little space of Deca Square. We're not even getting the full expanse of Deca Square as well. Now we're seeing that VIVO12 on the outside. BRU struggling to get in. Vamos.
Visaka Srivijaya just took out a player from the side of Buriram. Talk a little bit about some underdog action. And Vamos! Vamos of all teams putting an end to Buriram's run. 1-5 and Wasana is broke. 300 coins in hand. And all he can do is face the wall for not being able to back up the rest of his team members.
They had to run through the Ring of Fire. They also had to run through the firing squad of Vamos. With this final ring now starting to head towards the southern side of Deca Square. Vamos with 5 eliminations. They are at full fighting force. Same goes for a majority of these teams on the outside as well. CRM also pretty strong, and now that's going to be Tordox bowing out at 9th. And everybody, this is what we're expecting. These squads will start dropping like flies with the rotations. Whoever moves first is going to be under a lot of scrutiny for those sitting on the top of these roofs.
Holy mama, this is where the real battle begins, baby. Ab hoga asli dangal. This is the fight we've been waiting for. Yanbin taking out the final player out of Evo's Divine. Kochil says bye-bye. But look at this. Visaki Srivijaya, maybe a rematch up against Expand at the Coffee Club.
Going to have to chill for a moment. It's highs and lows, and GOW, they've got their rotation down. Pretty safe to get on in. Especially giving up that height to get that first rotation. They're looking for a position to stop everybody else. They're going to be hiding behind this canister. But again, the verticality may not be in their favor. So they got to keep their eyes up towards those roofs, up to the skies. And instead, they're actually going to go to play behind the bleachers.
Oh, this is now crazy. Core Memory in front of Visaki Srivijaya. Now they've got that high ground advantage. Core Memory, on the other hand, the moment they step out of their defenses, they are going to be shot at from all angles. The circle moving towards GOW. Visaki Srivijaya, they have got some room for maneuvering, but GOW has got the biggest advantage. And this advantage can be made into a disadvantage by a rotating team flash. So many things happening! But Demon secures the shot onto the final player on the side of Team Flash. Their position does not get outed just yet.
Now the rotations are coming in. Expand waiting for the very last second. They will face off against BRU, the last member, and as well as Vamos at the same time. They have to coordinate their movements, especially when they have the access to electrotherapy. No! One is already down. Because he gets picked back up just in time. Luckily for Vault, he's able to keep himself alive. But no, with so many shots coming through, and especially with VESJ looking down towards them, this has been a pretty brutal rotation for Expand.
अरे भाई तीसरा आदमी आ गया. The fight between Expand and Vamos. Visaki Srivijaya poking their noses in there. Wasana just behind the lines of Expand, sneakily staying alive. But for how long? Still gets it. Drops to West. But Gade says it's the end for you. Joel steals the point away. Visaki Srivijaya out of nowhere. They are on fire out here today.
Another headshot coming out from Joel. And now even GOW, they don't have any compounds to play with. And CRM is making sure that the bottom base is completely secure, defensive. They hold to play this war of attrition as Vamos and Expand are down to their last 2 members. This war of attrition has been brutal, but finally Gardu takes out Gade, and that's Vamos in 5th.
My good lord. Visaki Srivijaya is just exploding on everyone. Is this the time? Is this the day? Is this the game? Visaki Srivijaya claims their first booyah of this competition. Joel now tagged up from the bottom. GOW right behind the container, and they have been holding this position for the longest of time now, and the circle starts squeezing everybody in. High ground advantage still for the Indonesians, which GOW wants to take away from them potentially.
I mean, GOW have to make a choice, and it looks like they're going to have to go upwards, but CRM, let's see whether or not they try and bust a move, and it looks like they're trying to jiggle peek that corner, and GOW blocked them off. They don't want them in here at all. They want them to bleed out in the blue for as long as possible. As we see VESJ, they just have to bing chill. They don't have to do much. The glue wall melters are already out. Does anybody have a Riptide Rhythms? The shotguns start getting involved. Cougar, Jumga, and Poon are cleaning up GOW, and now the final ring happens. Do they jump down?
Well, it's going to be a medkit gameplay. Visaki Srivijaya can't get to them just yet, but through the wall, you look at the FCL finding the connection, and Obey out of nowhere. They managed to get a double for themselves, but Foki and Cougar find the trade. Poon, the final player left in here, and he's playing patch up. Medkit gameplay from core memory, and it is about to fail because Visaki Srivijaya have got 2 players, and Visaki Srivijaya makes history here at FFWSC Spring 2025.
Well played, well played. A booyah achieved finally after getting so close in the past 2 matches. Hit big. Really nicely done. Oh, I thought the verticality was going to be a problem, but this time round, CRM, it's not enough. It's not enough for gameplay. They tried their best to try and whittle them down, but even from ESJ, they made sure that they had a good split. 2 on top, 2 at the bottom. Make sure if they try to go for any kind of engagements, we have the resources to out-sustain them.
It's the day of the underdogs. And people were like, Mustachio, what's up with your predictions? It ain't no prediction. It's a spoiler. What a play by the Indonesian team. And it looks like today might just be the day where WAG or any of the Vietnamese squads out there, they take a big L from Indonesia, man, because these boys are hitting on a different level altogether. And look at the eliminations. 13 eliminations strong. Visaki Srivijaya by the end of this game, plus the Booyah, giving them a total of 25 solid points.
They continue to warm up, and they're rising. They're rising pretty high here. Really well played coming out from Visaki Srivijaya. I think that overall, they've been trying to warm up, and now that they found their confidence, they are looking like a completely different team.
Oh yeah, I mean, apologies, I got too excited. It's Visaka Srivijaya, but you know. It's a new team, okay?
Hey,
I'm getting used to it.
Gotta add your little flair to it. Gotta add your little flair. I'm sure they're still going to send you a jersey at some point.
Whatever, man. What a game that was, Gideon. And it's still the day of the underdogs. The underdogs keep standing up high, standing up tall, taking the fight up against some of these big boys and making them look like nothing. And props to Vamos. The team might not have been able to walk away with the Booyah, but Vamos shutting down Buriram as they try to reposition. So sweet, baby. This is what we want to see here at FFWSC. We are gearing up for the interview as well. We want to hear from Visaki Srivijaya exactly what is fueling them on, because, dude, from day 1 of performance versus day 2 of performance, just with 1 game, they've outdone what they did in a whole day, 6 matches, and they continue to perform so well.
Yeah, I think, this team now, the ceiling is much higher than what we've expected. And now from this point onward is going to be the growth period. I think the real question, if they continue and end this day really hot, they got to keep on striking it, because then they're going to be forced to adapt as other teams will take notice of them and will start to understand, hey, they figured out something in this current metagame that we might have to think of maybe a solution, if not just mix and match, copy it over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, oh, what a delight it is casting this day. My goodness, it's great to have you here with me, Gideon. But of course, the interview now in store for all of you guys. Visaki Srivijaya, without further ado.
Alrighty, thank you, analysts and casters. Survivor's second Booyah of the day for Team Indonesia. And now, it's time for Visaka Srivijaya! Oh my God, that was not only dramatic, but very brilliant. And I'm here today with Joel. Hi Joel. Aku mau tanya dulu sama kamu. Tadi aku kagum banget ngelihat betapa cerdasnya. Bahkan kamu juga tadi dipuji-puji sama para caster kita. Pengambilan keputusannya luar biasa banget, menutup semua akses yang mempersulit tim lawan untuk bisa ngambil positioning yang lebih baik dari kamu. Kalau boleh tahu, decision makernya tadi siapa? Apakah memang inisiatif pure dari kamu atau ada saran dari siapa?
Gardu itu.
Oh, Gardu. Tepuk tangan dong buat Gardu. So I asked him about the very brilliant move that they did on the match, in which Joel here closed all access and made it very difficult for the other team to get a better positioning. And turns out it was Gardu who decided to do that. So round of applause for Gardu as well. Shout out Gardu. That was super amazing. Leadership. Kalau bicara leadership, siapa sih di antara kalian yang jiwa kepemimpinannya tuh paling besar di saat-saat genting tuh suaranya paling didengar?
Aku sama Gardu.
Oh, jadi Joel sama Gardu. I asked him about who within your team is one of the one with the biggest leadership, and he said that it's himself and Gardu. Again, Gardu is stealing the show, kind of. Sebagai salah satu tim yang bisa dikatakan newbie, akhirnya tiba di FFWES C 2025 Spring. Gimana rasanya bisa dapetin buyah pertama hari ini?
Senang lah, cuman masih banyak yang harus diperbaikin lagi.
Oh, what a humble answer. I asked him about how does it feel to finally secure a booyah as one of the newbie team that enters FFWS Southeast Asia Spring 2025. And he said that he's very proud, very happy, but he still have a lot to learn and they will learn in the time frame that they have right now. Once again, congratulations Pesaka Sriwijaya. It's an honor to have you here. Sekarang kita akan kembalikan dulu ke para caster untuk melanjutkan kembali pembahasan. We're gonna go back to the casters. Take it away.
I just want to know who the hell is Miss Caroline Conchita? I am sitting here and I've got questions in my head and she is asking the right questions out there to the player, right? I was so curious what brought out these phenomenal plays and it just makes so much of sense. Gardu calling the shots is one of the most senior players on this squad and clearly he knows his way around some of these veteran opponents out there which are world championship worthy, right? For them to go out there, not just be able to take that instruction but to execute those plays. Great stuff out of Pesaka Sriwijaya.
No, I gotta compliment him as well. I mean, the leadership is such an important factor now that the meta has shifted from, hey, we don't need big highlight players to always find these big entry frags for us to outplay our opponents. It is now a full-on team game, and the coordination is most important at this stage. And I think that it's an awkward timing because he previously played for Onyx Olympus, and the fact that they decided to drop him at a time where the meta shifts to, hey, let's play like a full-on team, feels kind of bad, but hey, great for VSJ.
I mean, no doubts whatsoever. It was just crazy plays all around, right? Even the play with core memory, they took the fight to Pesaka Sriwijaya and Joel just absolutely shut them down. 5 eliminations, 5 headshots, 5,899 on the damage. The sniper for Pesaka Sriwijaya, and they finally climb up to the top with this phenomenal play. But I am more curious as to how the rest of his team members did as well with the numbers.
Oh yeah, I mean, big numbers coming in for our MVP. If everybody else is pretty close numbers, you can tell that they were making sure they were punishing the entire lobby in that final ring scenario. Let's look at this team so far first with their setup.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we see the Oscar here, very rare, but Oscar is one of those newest additions in the game that allows your team aggressive. Oscar literally runs through those groove walls, knocking back players at the same time. And you can also see Gardu walking in here with the Ford. With the Iron Will, he gains HP whilst he's taking damage. So Oscar is the rusher for the squad. But surprisingly, there is no Cassie in here. No Electro was still empowered to take the fight up to their opponents. But they were managing that balance between aggressive and defensive. You didn't really see Pesaka Sriwijaya run up against teams. But whenever they had to get into a good team fight, they stuck together and they ran it out.
Actually, on second pass, Guns was running the Cassie, so he was working with Gardu in those scenarios.
Oh, okay.
With the electrotherapy to keep him alive. But one more thing is that he's making sure that he's taking the passive to pick people up and keeping them healthy, knowing that Oscar, again, may not be able to outplay the scenarios, but bulldozing that pathway. Now, let's look at our key players. We've got Jump, Joel, and as well as Diane. I mean, so far, what we've been seeing here on Nextera, it's a lot of punishment for teams who end up having a rough mid-game, walking into that final circle, trying to survive from the mid-game with less than optimal squads, if not just missing a member. The numbers advantage was so huge, and we saw every other team who was missing a member die out very early on in the final few rounds.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And obviously, we looked at those nations as well, which are just so sweet to watch. But look at the miracle here. Core Memory, one of the teams that are struggling down at the bottom, actually manages to overtake Visaka Srivijaya at the top with a single point, all thanks to their explosive elimination. 17 elims in this match alone. Phenomenal performance from them. But once again, look at these teams who are at the top of the leaderboard. All underdog teams, man. Even Vamos is on the 6th spot. And then you look at the bottom, Buriram, WAG struggling. This is the kind of scenario I never thought I would see.
I never thought it was going to end up like this as well. I mean, my predictions for the top spots are definitely sitting in the middle, if not already towards the bottom of the board. Regardless, this is what we've been waiting to see, right? Teams really stepping up here today, really building up upon that confidence, but it's too early on in the tournament. We haven't gotten to that phase where teams start to adapt. So whatever they've come in, they gotta make sure that they stick to it. If so, if they are going to adapt, they gotta come up with a new version of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt at all. Obviously, you have to come out with a new version of yourself, kind of rework all of your approach towards these games, right? Or maybe you just want to get yourself a brand new mobile phone. Maybe it's your hardware that's the issue, right? And if you are out in the market looking for a new one, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is the way to go. We're talking about next generation Snapdragon 8 Elite as far as the Galaxy processor is concerned, as well as the Vulkan engine and ray tracing technology on a mobile phone. This is next level stuff.
It really is. And let me tell you, for a person like me, I've got like these big chunky hands, right? Big chunky fingers as well. It helps that the S25 Ultra comes in at a pretty good size, and they even give you a little bit more. So if we're talking about an advantage in game, you can actually edit your HUD just a little bit because you don't need all the space, and you technically get more POV.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we looking forward to teams dominating out there. So if you don't have the right stuff in your hands, then it really doesn't matter exactly what you try to do out there in terms of your tactics. But looking at the schedule, it's been a day where Thailand could not find dominance yet again. It's all about Vietnam. It's all about Indonesia, baby. And that's the way we want to flex this. So far, all out underdog plays. Started off by Team Flash grabbing the booyah on Purgatory. Onyx Olympus rising to the occasion on Bermuda, but unfortunately clunking out early on Nextera. But using the opportunity, Visaka Srivijaya soaring up to the top of the table. But this is what we want to continue seeing for the rest of the 3 games as well, because we know Buriram is dying to make a comeback.
Kalahari, if we're talking about the teams who have performed the best on it, it's RRQPE and as well as Falcon. And honestly, by the end of today, we might see teams really start to change things up, because so far, I mean, if we're talking about teams, especially within Indonesia, they look up to RQ and be like, Kalahari, that's their map. We can play like them, if not better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the teams that are struggling, they just need to remember Zindagi na milega dobara. They cannot get a second chance. They have to go all out this time round to find the shutdown. And obviously, these big teams trying to scratch and claw their way back in. The only way these smaller teams can prevent this is Buriram. Let's see if you can make a name for yourself. This is a great name, but of course, heading on into the game, let's see exactly who has got the guts to do something crazy like that.
All right, that being said, it's another really hot map. You know